All right, this crowd's building fast outside the White House here. Surround the White House for Gaza. The president, as I told you, is not there. He's half a world away in Paris. But the bottom line is this is a movement that has continued to build pretty much worldwide, more in favor of Palestinians than Israelis. Congressman Adam Smith, Washington Democrat, sits on the House Armed Services Committee. Very smart guy. His read on all of this. I mean, I'm wondering, Congress, always good to have you. These protests continue, and the odd, diversified news here. We get the release of these 4 hostages today. Good news on that front, yet Israelis continue to get pounded on this war. What do you make of that?
Look, there's a whole bunch of different layers to it. I think the overarching thing is you see the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, which is undeniable, and I think all of us want that to stop. I think that motivates a lot of people, but then there's a lot of other political reasons for it as well. I mean, there's been a strong anti-Israel bias for a long time for a lot of different reasons, and you see that playing out across the media as well. But I think the overarching policy focus is how do we stop the war in Gaza and build a more secure Middle East? And I think there's a lot of very strong feelings about that, even as you have people from a variety of different perspectives, and we've seen some of the worst, some anti-Semitic approaches, some other approaches that I think are, an effort to silence and intimidate opposition. Yeah. So it's a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. But I come back to the fact that the war is having a devastating impact, and we all want it to end.
And it doesn't look any close to that. I do want to get your sense of what you read a lot in the Israeli press, or that this relationship they have with Joe Biden is among the most tense and coolest post-World War II, obviously post the formation of Israel itself. Do you agree with that?
I don't. I mean, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, they, both blocked aid to Israel over disagreements. I think the first
No, you're right about that. They didn't do so in real time and publicize it to the world. We found out later.
Well, I don't know about the history or the details of that. But the other thing is, look, Joe Biden has supported Israel unequivocally from the start of this war. We have continued to supply Israel with aid. When Iran attacked, we marshaled the forces that helped protect them. Whatever the back and forth may be between Netanyahu and Joe Biden on the policy, Joe Biden has supported Israel. Now,
so what do you think what Nancy Pelosi said? Didn't mean to interrupt you, Congressman. She doesn't think it's proper for Benjamin Netanyahu when he comes here to speak before Congress. What did you think of that?
I think that's all a distraction, as to whether or not he speaks. The focus should be on what is the long-term peace in the Middle East. And this is the main bone of contention. There is, at the moment, not a reasonable alternative to Hamas. And we need a reasonable alternative to Hamas amongst the Palestinian people. And Netanyahu has had a policy for 15 years of undermining any effort to build a reasonable alternative to Hamas. That is the main point of contention. It is Netanyahu's opinion that Israel can never be safe if there is a Palestinian state. I and Joe Biden disagree. We think the opposite is true. If there is no future for the Palestinians, that's when Israel will not be safe. That is the source of the tension. What's going on?
As you know, Netanyahu wants Hamas obliterated. Do you want Hamas obliterated?
I think everybody wants Hamas obliterated.
So you're okay with that, but then whoever they find in its place, how do you know it won't be another Hamas?
Well, you have to work towards an alternative. I know this much. You kill a whole bunch of Hamas people, but have no alternative, don't support the Palestinian Authority, don't help them develop, then either Hamas or Islamic Jihad or something just as bad will prop up in its place. We need a reasonable alternative. And I do not agree that there's no Palestinians that we can work with. I don't agree with that. I think we have to find them in order to get to a more peaceful and stable Middle East.
All right. Congressman, very good catching up with you. Adam Smith, the beautiful state of Washington, sits on the House Armed Services Committee. We'll see how this goes. Again, it's expected to be peaceful, but expected to be crowded. It's beautiful weather there, so that is what they call, protest weather. Hopefully friendly weather at that.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.